Hey guys, so this is another viewer log review, and before getting started on this one, I actually wanted to talk about what I'm actually doing with this. So I kind of put some thought into it, and I'm thinking about like doing this as like a regular scheduled thing, like maybe like once a week or something, but I haven't actually decided. I don't know how much is too much, and I don't know how much is not enough, so we're gonna kind of find out. Let me know what you think in the comments. But here we have a request for this one day of rating from Nolan, or I believe his YouTube name was It's All Good. And right off the bat, I can get a link to a Vectis part, and then he has a couple other bosses here that I'm not sure which ones I'm going to choose, but I'm not going to look at all of them because that would take forever. But right off the bat, I can tell that he's he's not the most geared around. Look at the actual damage. And kind of sad you're below all these other people with a much higher parse. But pretty good job for your eye level there. A 373 eye level on Mythic Vectis, it's a little under geared there. And your neck was a bit low. So I'm thinking maybe like an alt that you recently started maining or something. I'm not really sure. Doesn't really matter. One of the other things I noticed at first was your kill time is really good. You narrowly made the push before the third liquefy by what appears to be a very YOLO all-in, because just about everybody died. But you got it, so that's what matters. And taking a look at your talents here, first off, stats looking pretty good, but your talents, not really a fan of this build on this boss for a couple of reasons. So for one thing, let's start from the top here. Exposed elements, and I don't really like exposed elements on this boss because you tend to flame shock both the boss and the ad, and you also tend to occasionally throw in earthquakes, which is something I might actually make a video on too, talking about wind to earthquake versus earth shock. But earthquake does actually do more damage overall, but not on the ad, of course. So there's some ads you want to earth shock, but there's some you just could just drop an earthquake on. But because you're splitting your resources between earth shock and earthquake, the benefit from exposed elements is basically cut in half. So that's you're probably not getting as much out of this as you would out of something else. And by something else, I mean Echo the Elements. Earth Shield in this boss, I'm not really sure. Might get extra healing out of it, but I really like Spirit Wolf for the intermission. That's just me though. Kind of personal preference. Storm Ellie versus Liquid Magma Totem. Either one's kind of fine. Not really. I personally use Liquid Magma Totem, but Storm Ellie's also fine. Liquid Magma Totem just a little bit more consistent with the ad damage. And then Unlimited Power is a bit of a weird choice because there's a lot of downtime with the liquefies. And during that downtime, you got things like Ascendance coming off of cooldown. But at the same time, the kill time is like really bad for Ascendance. So I can kind of see why you might choose Unlimited Power here. Because, you got your Ascendance coming up in like 20 seconds when the boss dies. So I guess that could go either way as well. Maybe something I should actually try if we're going to ever make that push. But that's my thoughts on the talents. Now, looking at the actual damage, I can see here that you were using Earthquake. You used about 7 Earthquakes. So you're probably doing that properly there. Yeah, it looks like you're using Earthquakes on a couple of the ads that you ideally know are going to die. At the end here, you went up a lot. I'm not really sure why. I guess Parasites. But yeah, using Earthquake on a couple of those ads, if you know the ad is not going to live for too long, it's not going to get a second cast off or whatever, you can just drop an Earthquake there and get extra damage. So good job doing that. Now Storm Ellie, an interesting thing with Storm Ellie is you can use it on cooldown and then just save Eye of the Storm for an ad. So I'm curious if you're doing that. So Eye of the Storm here did seem like you're splitting that in the ad, so another thing you're doing pretty well with that. Yeah, it looks like both times you saved Eye of the Storm for the ad, so that's very good. This one you may have not had Call Lightning up though, judging by how much less damage it did. So let's take a look. Oh. I'm confusing myself. I clicked on Eye of the Storm for like the 3rd time in a row. Yeah, I don't think you actually had Call Lightning up there, so make sure you keep an eye on that, because you lost a lot of damage on that last Eye of the Storm, but yeah, just a little minor thing there. I actually forgot to check the very basic stuff that I was meaning to look at first. We got Flame Shock. Vectis is kind of hard to tell, though. 63% uptime. I have my log open here that I can compare this to. My flame check uptime was 70% with an extra liquefy. So you may have been... We killed this like directly out of this liquefy, I believe. So we had basically the same kill time. 28, 29. You casted more flame shocks than me, but had less uptime with one less liquefy. So I'm a little confused about that. I don't know if you were refreshing on the boss early or something and didn't have it for the ads. I'm not really sure. I can't say with confidence that you did anything wrong here. She had a couple lava bursts that didn't crit, so I can say with confidence that you did at least one flame shock mismanagement there, but overall that's probably close to on par, or close to what it should be. And then chain lightning, using that on the ads, of course. Lightning bolt on the single target. A couple frost shocks in there. Must have had to move a bit. Maybe you were moving a debuff over. Now the thunderstorm, I want to know when that was. Oh, you're moving a parasite. Okay. I was thinking thunderstorm when you get contagion, or not contagion, when you get the gestate, is a little min-max thing you can do on this fight. Does like 1,000 damage, but if you get the debuff and you get stunned, you can still thunderstorm during that, so a little bit of extra damage. But it looks like you're using that to knock an ad out. But check your buffs. You had your totems up for majority of the time. You lost it a little bit here. I'm going to assume that was during a liquefy, so it wouldn't really matter as long as you still had full maelstrom. And then at the end you were dead, I believe. Yeah, you were one of the earlier deaths in this gung-ho at the end there. So you probably missed the last bit right there too. Unless you had Ankh, but I don't think you did. Now resources, go to Maelstrom. And you didn't waste any Maelstrom, so that's good there. You can see where your things climb on here. I think that's where the downtime was. So ideally you have that up there, because you did lose down a little bit of Maelstrom there, but not the biggest deal. Probably just outranged it on accident. But so I'm going to make sure I didn't forget anything. Just kind of collecting my thoughts and making sure I didn't miss anything too important before I moved on to like cooldown usage and stuff. And I went to your deaths, and I noticed that you actually did Ankh, and then you died again because the thing targeted you. But yeah, I wanted to point that out. You actually did have Ankh, used it, and then you died again. So unfortunate. But we're gonna go back to the cooldown usage here because I don't think I'm missing anything else for the actual damage. So first potion, I'm going to assume you had a pre-pot, and the second one was here. I don't actually know that for sure. I don't really know if logs are a little weird with that or not, but if you didn't have a pre-pot, you should have a pre-pot. I think you already know that, though. Now, that I'm assuming was with a Storm Elemental. If that is the case, that is good. Blood Fury is a 2-minute cooldown. Use a 1 on pole. Maximum use would be 1 here, and then none more. So you got the maximum amount of uses you could, while actually lining it up with your potion and everything, so that was good. I'm not sure what this one was used with anything in particular, but you got the other extra use there. Now, ideally, I think your trinket was 2-minute cooldown as well, so ideally that is used with the Blood Fury, and it looks like it was. Used a little late in the lust. Not sure why. I guess you wanted it on like the second half of Storm Ellie, but you still got the 3 uses in, so it doesn't really matter with that either. Because either way, you were holding it here for like 30 seconds at most, and as long as you used it within the first 30 seconds, you still get to use it there, so it didn't really matter. Now, is that when you use Storm Ellie? I don't remember exactly when you use these. Roughly about the same, so yeah, you were holding it for Storm Ellie. So you get pretty much the most out of your cooldowns there. Was that other on-use trinket? Is that why you held it? Okay. Yeah, you had 2 on-use trinkets. That makes more sense. What is this one? 90-second cooldown? I wish I could see it. Wait, what? It's not letting me see it, but I think it's a 90-second cooldown. Yeah, look into this. 90-second cooldown. Could have just looked right there. So 90-second cooldown. Looks like you're using it just about on cooldown. Could have been used here, but I think that's during a liquefy, maybe? No, it's not, but either way. Maximum amount of usage got out of that as well. Didn't say to Storm Ellie or anything, but if you did, you would have lost the use, so good thing you didn't. So use that on pull, and the fuse after, which is probably the right way to do that. If I remember what this thing does correctly, it won't actually show me, but I think that's like an on-use int or crit. And getting haste later in the Storm Ellie is probably more ideal, though I don't actually know that for sure. I'm just kind of guessing in a way. But I clicked on this. That is, what is that? Resonance totem. Why is it not showing you having, what? I don't know. I don't know if it's bugging out or what, but it looks like you didn't have totem mastery for all that time, but I'm pretty sure you did. Here it says you did, so I don't, logs are being a little weird right now. But, well, yeah, I forgot to check one thing. That is the uptime. 84%, that is just about on par with the top in your raid. Actually, it is on par with the top in your raid, so I'm guessing, and that's a BM hunter, they don't count. I'm guessing that you didn't really make any major mistakes with managing movement or anything, especially because your damage is quite good for your eye level, especially with the build you're running. But good uptime there. So I guess I'm going to check the replay, and I'll come back and turn the recording on if I notice anything out of whack. So I just wanted to update and double check on this. It actually is a haste trinket that is pretty much the exact opposite of the other one that you have. But either way, two unused trinkets are not really the most ideal thing. But because they have different cooldowns, it's kind of okay. But yeah, I guess overall the way you use it would probably come down to the fight time and how many uses you're going to get of each and making sure you get the most you can get out of it. But I'm not really sure which one's actually better to use on pull, but whatever. I wanted to correct myself because I thought it was a crit one, but it is actually a haste one. So I decided the other fight I was going to look at would be Zek'Voz, because I love me some Zek'Voz. Notice you had a blue parse in this boss. Granted, your eye level is still quite low, but I think you could have done better than that. So we're going to look at what went wrong, if anything actually did go wrong. And first thing, I can see your talents. Ancestral Guidance is an interesting pick, but it's definitely not a bad pick. So the rest of your talents, I like them a lot. Ancestral Guidance, what a team player. And I did notice that you do have a death, which could have contributed to your... Well, it didn't. Not that it could have. It definitely did contribute to your lower damage, but well, I think you onked immediately or got res quickly because I could see you still doing damage like really shortly after the death, so it wasn't that influential. But we're going to look at the damage breakdown here, and I can already tell that you're doing your cooldowns the way I like it. Looking at the Storm Melee uses, you got the one at 1 minute. Oh, maybe not. That was with Bloodlust. Okay, never mind, I lied. I just did a ton of damage here because of Lust. I'm not really sure what happened to the second use. This one's pretty low. First use was on the first ad. But it looks like you didn't use it before the first ad. I'm not really sure why you guys lusted here. You ended up dying right before it, so that's you ended up dying during lust, which is unfortunate. But looks like you might have missed a Call Lightning on this Eye of the Storm as well, just as a side note. I'm getting a little sidetracked here. Use it here, and then the second ads would spawn here. And the third ads would spawn here. Did you get a third set of warriors, though? That's the question. Let's take a look. You did not. So in this situation, it definitely would have been better to use Storm Melee before the first ads. At like around this point, I had the Storm the first ads, and then use it on the second ads. But the only issue here is because you lusted on the second ads, they may not live long enough for you to actually get the Eye of the Storm off. And this lust chiming is really, really strange to me. I'm not a fan of it, but it's not necessarily something you can do anything about. So that's just a little thing there. I'm not really sure if this was something you could avoid at all. Because there's lust here, perhaps Storm Melee on pull, and then Storm Melee at the 3-minute mark to get the full use on the lust one. And then you could have done it again at the 5:30 mark. Then you would have only had 3 total overall either way, I guess, so I'm not really sure. But either way, you're only getting 1 use on an ad, so you can just pick which ad you want, or you could try to get it before these first ads, and then try to get it at least on the tail end of these ads, and to see what you can do there. I'm not really sure what the actual best option would be. But, hey, you're in a bit of an awkward situation here. But this one's the one I'm looking at right now. I'm kind of worried about this one, because it's so much lower than it probably should be. Yeah, let's take a look and make sure you didn't Eye of the Storm without Call Lightning. So I'm gonna go ahead and say this one was the one on the ad. This one was without Call Lightning, as it's so tiny. And this one was, unless this one was with an orb or something, and it's just making everything look disrupted. But use the Eye of the Storm here at like 349. Wait, you use it on a Void Weaver that died? Is that what happened? I don't know. But you're using, then you use the Call Lightning. 353. Yeah, you use it before the Eye of the, or you use the Eye of the Storm before the Call Lightning, I think, which would explain a lot of your issue here. And you may have Eye of the Storm an ad, causing it to get cut short. You can actually tell that by the amount of hits that you had. Never mind, no, we can't, because you had ads. I was going to say it's 8 ticks per thing, but you got it on ad, so that actually changes everything. So, never mind. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that was out without Call Lightning, or it ended really. I don't really know which one. But there was definitely an issue on that one. I think I'm focusing on that a little too much. I'm just very into my Eye of the Storm. But Flame Shock Uptime 91%, Lava Burst crit 98%, so you did have a little bit of a mistake there as well. You missed at least one crit on this. Yeah, it looks like just one crit, but that is one too many. I'm not really sure where that Lava Burst went, but it was not where it should have gone. And your Flame Shock Uptime on, let's see, Zek'Voz himself, that was a 91. And then Orb Weavers and stuff, or Void Weavers, you had the during the downtime on Zek'Voz, but you could probably still keep it up on both. So you should probably try to keep one up on Zek'Voz, one on an Orb, or one on a Void Weaver, unless you're actually doing 2 Void Weavers at the same time, which seems a little weird. Generally, you do one, and the other ones are CC, then you go to the other ones. But either way, you had a Lava Burst non-crit, so there was at least one minor little mistake in there. I keep having it cut because there's things happening around me, but take a look at your Maelstrom. I am not set to the right person. Go ahead and set to Nolan here. Maelstrom, you had a little bit of waste on Lava Burst, and then Chain Lightning is expected. Lava Burst looks like it was just one, but I'm not really sure where that would end up being that would justify a waste. I'm not really sure if it was just like a Lava Surge proc that you accidentally threw out or something. Either way, it looks like you just had one that used at max Maelstrom. Maybe you finished AoEing and instinctually Lava Bursted. Don't know, but that is 14 Maelstrom that could have gone somewhere else that ended up being wasted there. Now we can check your cooldown usage. So I'm not really sure what's going on with logs, but I checked my own log just to be sure that it was actually working the way I think it is. And I know I pre-potted on a certain boss. Check the log, no potion here, it only shows 1 potion used, so I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to assume you pre-potted and then use it here on these warriors. Now, I guess there's lust here, I don't know. I probably would use it with Star Melee on these ads. I think you would have done more damage than with lust, just to be fully honest. But either one is a fine choice. Now, Blood Fury, use one with the ads here, one with these ads, so good going there. Probably worth the loss of a use, potentially. Got the 5-minute here. You did actually end up... Wait. Were you dead? No. You didn't use it again near the end, when you could have. So that... Unless I did miss your death in here somewhere, which I don't think I did. No, you only died the one time. So you didn't end up missing a Blood Fury use at the end here. Seems like a common theme. As people don't use their racial at the end of fights. It looks like this gets kind of chaotic and they forget. That's something you want to make sure you're doing, because that's when it matters the most, is when things are chaotic, right? So you could use one here, and use that one here, and you could use another one around here. So make sure you're doing that. We got the Ignition Mage Fuse, use these same time as Blood Fury. Again, could use another one here. Not really sure what happened there. But looks like you forgot to use both your cooldowns there. Let's check the Stormkeeper uses. And you did forget to use it on pull, and delete it here. A very, very, very common mistake. Not going to fault you too much for it, because it seems like everyone's doing it. But you missed a couple uses of Stormkeeper. If you precast it on the pull, and then use it directly on cooldown from there, you will have it up for all the ads you want, and will get as many uses as you can possibly fit into the fight. You get the one right here, you get the one on the 1 minute mark, which is when these ads come. As long as you are not moving during like surging or whatever, at this point you can squeeze a cast in right around the 2 minute mark, and then you'll have it up at 3 minute mark again. If you have to move from surging or whatever, and you think you're going to lose it on this ads, then I mean you can delay it if you really want to. Not the biggest loss or anything, but if you get it right on cooldown, you will get another one. And from here on, you did it pretty good. You got 3 minute mark, 4 minute, 5 minute, 6 minute, but then you seem to miss the 7 minute. Maybe, yeah, you missed the 7 minute, but not like the biggest deal. But again, you know, end of the fight. Seems like all the cooldowns kind of went out the window. Got an error, apparently. Okay, okay. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can fix this real quick. I managed to fix it. So we're gonna check out the buffs here. I'm assuming that was when you died. Yeah, you had a little downtime on that. Probably just when you were dead. You can check debuffs now, because I'm curious if you got an orb or not. You did at the end. Oh man, that's when you could have used your cooldowns. Did you die? I didn't say you died. Oh, you were still MC'd. Okay, let me double check your cooldown usage, because I want to make sure that you didn't have it come up after you died, because then, I mean, that would completely justify everything, right? Looking like... I can just go to cast and make this a little easier. No, you did have it come up about 7 seconds before you died. I believe you died at the 7:15 mark. You had it come up a little earlier. You could have used it with the orb, which would have been really good to have, actually. It's not on the GCD or anything. So definitely something you could have done there that would have improved a little bit. Actually, a decent amount. I don't know about the Stormkeeper. Maybe you couldn't use that. No, you definitely couldn't use the Stormkeeper. You died right as it came up. But the Blood Fury and the Oni Shrinker you could have put in about 5 to 10 seconds before you died. So that would have been influential there. Yeah, I was curious if you got an orb or not, because I didn't actually see it originally. But did you Storm Ellie with your orb? I used it like right before your orb. Not right before, but a little bit before, right? 621. Got the orb. 645. I guess you got a little bit of the Storm Ellie with the orb. But the orb lasts 30 seconds, so if you knew you were going to get this orb, you should have saved Storm Ellie, but you don't always know what you're going to get, so I'm not going to look too deep into that. Because not even my guild coordinates these anymore, other than just me getting the first one for Ankh. But yeah, that is the debuffs and stuff. Not sure if there's anything else I can really look at here, other than stuff I've already looked at on the last boss. So I think that's it for this. But yeah, guys, I'll probably be looking at 1 to 2 bosses per link, per video or whatever. One boss if you have a specific one you want me to look at, up to 2. Probably no more than 2 at a time, just because it would be really long. I don't want it to get like tedious and boring or anything, especially when most of what I'm pointing out is kind of similar stuff. And I'm going to try to do different bosses every time, just to keep it a little more fresh. Like this time I did Zek'Voz, which is similar to last time, just because I didn't have any other options. But if I had like a Zool or a Mithrax or something, I definitely would have chose that one over the other ones, just to keep it fresh, like I said. But again, if you have like a specific request, even if it's one that was already linked, if you're running like a different build and wanted to know tips for that or something, then I am open to that as well. And I appreciate you guys linking your logs to me so I could look at them. I have a couple more on my list. And I will try to prioritize ones that are like time sensitive. Unfortunately, I took long enough on this one that one of the links was for Fetid Prog, but I looked and you already killed the boss. So if you have another boss you want me to look at instead, I will take a look at that next time to the individual who linked the Fetid logs. I can look at your Zool Prog or something. I noticed I went and actually looked at your guild stuff, and you haven't actually pulled Zool yet. So if you end up being in on Zool and want me to look at that, feel free to let me know in the comments. But again, link your logs in the comments if you want me to look at them. And I'm probably going to make this like a weekly thing, and let me know how you feel about that, or how much you want to see this, and maybe like once every week, once every 2 weeks, you know, whatever you think is a good number of log reviews. There's only so many I can really do before they kind of dry up and just become like reiterating myself. So maybe I'll do every boss once, and then I'll look for like videos specifically. We'll see how it ends up. And of course 8.1's coming soon, so everything will change then. And I'll have a lot more tips to give out. That'll be nice. And one other idea I had while I'm here and talking to you that I wanted to mention. I recruited, for anyone who didn't know, I was a recruiter for 2 different Mythic guilds for a total of like 2 or 3 years. One guild was Impervious, it was like US 300 or something, world around 900 to 1000. It wasn't the greatest guild, but I recruited for them for quite a while. That was like trade chat recruitment and stuff, and that being not the greatest guild, I feel like actually enhances my ability to do what my idea is. Because I have experience in 2 very different areas of Mythic rating. And the other one I recruited for was Precision, which was like a top 50 US guild, top 130-ish world, like just around 100 world. And I was thinking I could do like a video or a series of videos looking at what recruiters are going to be looking at on people's logs and what they want to hear, what they want to see. Let's give you guys tips for how to get into guilds, basically, and what you should be trying to put into your logs aside from just doing the most damage that recruiters are actually going to look at, because there's a lot of little specific things that when I was recruiting I was looking at that most people never would have thought of, but it really influenced my decision of whether I recruited them or not. So if you want to see something like that, let me know and I will try to do that and figure out how I want to format it and everything. But it was just a random idea. I'm not sure if it's good or not. But yeah, let me know how you feel about that. I've requested a lot of comments on this video. Feel free to leave more than one if you want to spread them out. And I will see you guys in the next one. And thanks again for linking me your logs, Nolan. Hope you got something out of it. Anyways, have a good one, guys.